Get connected, Fitchburg. Sign up for Fitchburg Connect, the city's monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on-demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Good morning. I'm Mark Hamilton. I am chair of the ATT Committee, and I will call this meeting to order of the meeting of June 25th, 2026. And I want to welcome everybody. We've got some folks on the screen as well who will be joining us on Zoom. And our first order of business this morning will be to give a roll call. Joyce, would you please do the honors?
Garcia Sierra is absent. Hamilton.
Here.
Hardy.
Here.
Ladese.
Here.
Lepper is absent. Pop.
Here.
And Sanders.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Our next item of business is approval of the minutes from the last meeting, May 28th. And I would take a recommendation to move to approve or discussion of the minutes first. So are there any discussion points of our minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is approved by Mr. Potts, seconded by Ms. Sanders. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we're now on to agenda item number 4, public appearances for non-agenda items. And we have Nura Said, who is given us a registration form to speak on agenda item number 4. So you're on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nur Saeed, and I am a regulatory specialist. Having grown up in the Fitchburg-Madison corridors, and now back here with family on both sides, I have a deep personal and professional interest in the long-term stability across the region. I also have a sister who was once again forced to move due to rising housing costs. And I recently published a preliminary audit that was shared with the mayor, my District 3 alders, and city staff, as well as CEDA and the HAC. Specifically regarding 2 rental trends that are driving resident transiency in Fitchburg, along with 7 broad recommendations. Today, I'd like to highlight 4 of those critical insights. New legislation that requires pricing transparency is on the rise across the state and federal levels, with the Federal Trade Commission currently targeting hidden rental fees and pricing practices. Fitchburg has an opportunity to lead by leveraging existing technology, such as the apartments.com cost calculator tool, and by standardizing voluntary compliance. We can proactively prepare our housing providers for the federal eminent regulations and give our renters an honest look of their total financial commitment upfront. The second item is regarding lease specials. I believe these are great, but they often create a misleading picture of long-term affordability. In my audit, I identified a pattern where a sudden jump in costs after the first year, once those promotions expire, kind of creates a rent cliff, a dramatic rent cliff that once these standard market adjustments are applied, a unit that was originally within budget is no longer possible or no longer affordable to renew, forcing people to relocate annually, uprooting kids from schools, and just a revolving door of move-ins. We really do need a more sustainable approach that balances leasing specials while without trading residential stability. The city and sustained through the Efficiency Program Navigator is doing vital work to preserve our existing stock of NOAAs. However, we need to scale these efforts beyond preservation with long-term planning to help expand the supply of NOAAs through new development. Lastly, I urge the city to consider changing how we speak, using terms like missing middle housing does not belong in community discourse or planning. And by changing the language, we are shifting the priority and centering the narrative around the people who will live in these houses rather than the structures that are being built themselves. I proposed a neighborhood housing term to emphasize the scale and integration of these developments. And I'm bringing up these insights because, clearly your dedication to our housing challenges is clear. And I just want to thank you all for all of the meaningful work that you do to build Fitchburg into a place where everyone who wants to stay can stay. So.
Thank you very much. Any comments around Ms. Siad's feedback?
Can you go back to the missing middle comment? You're not comfortable with the terminology. Can you expand on that a little bit or help me understand?
Sure. I think to combat
the stigma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be helpful to kind of center the narrative around terms that humanize the issues that are happening across housing and help people be more receptive to it.
Do you have a recommendation of what it could be replaced with?
One of the recommendations, one of the new terms I proposed was neighborhood housing. To replace missing middle housing. Additionally, another term is the squeezed middle to replace the missing middle class. I think that kind of does a very descriptive aspect of the challenges residents like teachers, nurses, and in the workforce are facing, where they make too much to qualify for subsidized housing, but not enough to where they struggle with market rate housing. Mm-hmm. So those two terms, neighborhood housing and the squeezed middle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is, we have several resolutions here today. So we're starting with Resolution 14426, Mike, which is your budget, correct?
Sure.
Okay, I will give the floor over to you. It's all yours.
Sure. This is actually, I had mentioned at the last meeting, the interest in doing an in-business insert for a marketing piece. And this is the formal request to do a budget amendment, working with our finance director, Misty Dodge, as far as the process to basically designate $25,000 from our undesignated fund to go into public info and education to allow us to do the in-business insert after our Forward Fitchburg. economic development strategic plan is updated. So it's just basically the formal process to do that. It seemed like there was support at the meeting last week. We haven't done a good marketing piece for a long time, so that would allow us to move forward with that, working with the chamber and also within business.
There were some comments, I think Nura actually had them, about making a few tweaks to that.
Yeah, that piece that was shared in the last was the one
was
from
like an example from
the
an
last.
older, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that'll be completely revamped and updated once we finish Forward Fitchburg. Yeah, so that was just an example.
Yeah, okay. But
not
then the
piece.
comments and suggestions, are those going to be incorporated into the new version of it?
Yeah, that'll
last time?
all the
Okay.
statistics and the data and stuff like that will be completely updated.
Yeah, okay.
Coming
Because there were some good
Forward Fitchburg.
There
Yeah.
were some good comments.
So you just need a motion and.
Yeah, I'd say since we heard about this last meeting, is there any further discussion on Mike's amended proposal? Hearing none, I will move to a motion to accept.
Do we have a motion?
We need a motion, so.
Yeah.
Motion, a second?
Second.
Is that you down there? Okay. Yeah, from Micah. Okay, any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, we'll move to take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
You have an amendment, and it will next go to the Finance Committee in July. Item number 2 of resolutions, approving an agreement with Sustained Aim for implementation of the 2026 Efficiency Navigator Program. Are you doing that, or is Lorraine? Lorraine, you're on.
There we go. So good morning. So this is the contract for Sustained Aim and Elevate for the second phase, which is the implementation of the Efficiency Navigator Program. So we do have Claire and John here via Zoom to share a little bit about the work they have been doing.
Hi, Lorene. Hi, everyone. Would you like me to share my screen for the presentation?
Yes.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm going to share an update on where we are right now with the 2026 Efficiency Navigator Program. This is going to give you an overview of what we've seen for buildings come through and where we are right now with the first recommended implementation measures. So as a reminder, Efficiency Navigator Program, we are working to help those small and medium-sized apartment housing become more efficient and resilient, reducing the costs from the utility bills, also making them more comfortable for residents and long-term resilient to climate change. This is building off of the housing plans and is funded through the TIF districts 4, 6, and 15. There are 2 goals that Fitchburg has that align with this program. The first one is the housing goal, which is to upgrade existing multifamily housing while maintaining the affordability. And the second one is sustainability goals around buildings and energy goals. So that includes reducing greenhouse gases by 33%, reducing natural gas use by 30%, and having 50% fewer people in energy poverty. The impacts are really varied and are really looking holistically at our communities. So preserving that affordable housing, increasing resilience, comfort, like I said, the health and safety, which also comes along with that, promote equity, and supporting the local economy. So for outreach, so as we began the process this year, we replicated much of what we did last year. We met with Lorene and Jack Peterson to discuss our pool of properties. We sent outreach letters to 176 properties, and then also did general marketing information sharing through our newsletter, through social media, the school district newsletter and social media, and then we did some filming and promotion with FACTv. We also had a press conference at the end of March, which celebrated the 2025 work, and the mayor spoke, which was another good way for people to learn about the program. After that, we received about 30 applications. Some of the trends and observations is that we had 10 buildings with 8 or more units, so some bigger buildings in there. There were 6 owners who submitted for more than one property. Many of them have 2 properties in the community. And about half of the applications were for duplexes. We did intakes, so that's where we, get details about the building, get to know the owners more, make sure they understand the requirements of the program, including the affordability requirement for 5 years afterwards. So we had 16 buildings that went through that process, which represent about 237 residents. We also do verification, make sure they are current on their taxes, no legal issues, and like I said, the eligibility review. Next, we moved into the assessment report phase. At the time of this presentation, we had 10 assessments back and 14 in process. We now have all 14 back, which is great. You can see with the neighborhoods that were spread throughout the city. And, some of the observations is weatherization continues to be, the number one kind of starting point for our work. There's opportunities and need to tighten up these buildings so that they're not losing all of the heat and cooling in them if they have cooling. There are opportunities for heat pump water heaters. We're seeing less air source heat pumps this year. And we also have some windows that have come through actually at the highest level of need this year, which is our rating system of 10. And kind of general health and safety, continuing to find gas leaks, ways that maybe the mechanical system isn't having proper air intake. So some of those other comfort, health, and safety issues continue to be there. There are 3 miscellaneous items that you guys have us check when we were in the buildings. That includes the sprinkler system. There were 15 buildings with no sprinklers and 1 building that had sprinklers in the common areas. For the conditions of the grounds, there were no lighting concerns. There was some missing and disconnected downspouts that we noticed, which we're talking with the owners about. And then there was 1 building that didn't have batteries. They'd been removed from their smoke and CO2 detectors, and the owner got those and put those back in while we were there on site. The other one is for pest observations. 1 owner reported some seasonal mice and a woodpecker. The other buildings, there have been no evidence of pests. So at this point, so when we've done all the analysis for those 10 buildings, there is about 5 weatherizations, 1 heat pump, a gas leak remediation finding that we believe we'll need to take care of. Some of the others, the owners are taking care of right away. And around about $185,000 of work in what I'd say kind of our initial, 2/3 of the buildings. This would be impacting 104 residents, including 29 children and 13 seniors. I wanted to share a little bit about why weatherization first. Weatherization is oftentimes that root cause of the energy loss. So we want to take care of that first before we begin investing in new equipment. So the new equipment isn't working twice as hard or being less efficient than it could be. Oftentimes, weatherization also provides the highest energy savings per dollar invested. And when you have that proper enclosure, then the heating and cooling systems can be sized and work efficiently as we want them to. We also want to reduce energy demand so that we can maximize any other investments. And then it's more comfortable to live in a building that is weatherized so that you don't have those drafts and you can be in your living room and be comfortable. Wanted to share a case study example. This is a 8-unit building. All the residents pay the utilities. This building is recommended for air sealing, insulation, ventilation work, heat pump water heaters, and a gas leak repair. It's estimated for the utility savings to be slightly over $1,000, and it'll be 36%, and then 5,500 kilograms of the CO2 emissions saved. So this is a great building. It's nice to see some of these bigger buildings too, more residents that are going to be impacted, and the savings is larger too. I also wanted to make a note about the IRA rebates. These are the federal rebates. There's a lot of changes happening again with these. There was a memo from Department of Energy that said the fuel switching will no longer be allowed. And what that means is if you have like a gas furnace, switching that to an air source heat pump would not be allowed. So there's some transition there that we're all trying to understand and what that might look like. Some other rules as well about levels of weatherization that will need to happen before you can get rebates for other measures. So we're being very cautious about assuming that we will get any rebates or moving forward with them. We do not want to overspend a budget. We are being, very cautious and pretty much assuming we are not going to be getting federal rebates. We do, though, still have the state rebates, the focus on energy funding. We utilized those before. We will be continuing to utilize those for the projects here. But at this point, it does not impact our implementation plan or our projects. I just wanted to let you know that we're aware of this and just, share the information about how the landscape is shifting. So next step, we are in the process of getting contractor quotes for recommended measures. We're also not listed on here. We're finishing up review of those final 4 assessment reports to rank them and determine which of those measures we want to move forward with as well. We have the 3-party agreement and the land use restriction agreement that we've been working with Lorene on and is on the agenda for today as well. And then we'll get those signed, and then we'll get project scheduling and then get the work complete. So thank you so much, and I am happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Claire. Are there questions from the committee? I think yes. Dan first, and then Micah.
On the case study, the 8-unit building in the Forsyth Downs neighborhood, what was the investment that was made?
We have not made any investment in that building yet. That'll be an example of a building. If you want to give me a second, I can pull up what we are estimating for that one. Let's see. I think that building may end up being around 50,000. So these are estimates. I don't have the specific quotes yet back because it's an assessment report recommendation to then get the quotes.
And then the projected savings of $1,050 annual utility savings, what is that?
That's the reduction in cost on the residents' bills for 1 year.
And what is the 36% estimated energy savings?
So that's we calculate the total amount of energy, so like therms and kilowatt hours that is being used in a building. So there'll be a reduction of 36% use after we implement the measures.
And that 36%.
So it gets to the sustainability.
That only equates.
It gets to the sustainability goals.
That only equates to $1,000 a year in monetary savings?
Yeah, I'm going to have John hop on here because he does the calculations, and it's not a 1-for-1. So I can have John explain how all the calculations work together.
Sure. Good morning. For that particular project, so that $1,000 estimate is across the 8 units. So we do divide, I just want to be clear, so that $1,000 is for the building savings. So divide the $1,000 by 8, and that'll be the individual unit savings. And most of that savings comes from air leakage reduction and insulating the attic. I think there's maybe a boiler optimization opportunity to reduce the gas through fine-tuning the boiler as well. Is the question more about why isn't it more? Is that where you're leaning?
My question is, if I'm saving 36% of the energy, that only equates to $1,000 a year. That means I'm not spending very much money on utilities to begin with.
Yeah, yep.
So then I look at it and say, why am I spending $50,000? I mean, that would be a payback without including interest of 50 years.
Yeah, and what's really unique and very interesting and about the program is that we're trying to achieve many goals at one time. We're trying to improve the lives of the residents and make those buildings reducing carbon where we get a lot of energy savings, carbon savings. And the payback for our individual measures is one component that we certainly do look at within the program. But it is not the sole priority of the program is to get the payback, because we're trying to improve the community, right? We're trying to improve people in place, staying in place. So it is an important component, but the program historically will certainly reach beyond economic payback in terms of the measures.
Well, if just looking at the 1,050, and if you divide that by 8, what's that, about 120? So that's about $10 a month?
Yes. Yep. So that's where we value beyond the non-energy benefits, right? To improve the comfort, right? And help reduce the maintenance and operational costs by that property owner to lower the pressure to increase rent costs and keeping people in place. So we're getting this building to a better place. And one of the wins that we get in addition to the monetary savings is longevity of affordable rent, right? So that is a key goal of the program.
But the residents are paying all the utilities. The landlord isn't paying the utilities.
Correct. It's just simply the upgrade that we are doing to the property takes that burden, that financial burden off the property owner, which is typically a very a common driver for rent increases as these maintenance items are undertaken.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Any further comments from the committee? Micah, you had your hand up down there.
Yeah, can you help me understand the kind of timing of this? Because so we got, these are just the first 10 properties we're doing now, and then the 4 larger ones that we just got the assessments back. Are we going to see something else in the future for this? Can you I'm a little confused about what we're recommending here.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably a question for Lorene, because it gets to the contract itself, which would allow us to go forward with the buildings as they become ready. Lorene, are you able to take that question?
Yes. So this piece of it is, we have $400,000 allocated for the implementation, so the work to be done on the properties. So this contract then allows them to start that work. They'll be getting invoices for each of those and then submitting those to our department for work. So that's what the premise of this is.
So what's the $185,000 estimated cost? What does that cover? Which properties does that cover?
So that covers 6 of the initial buildings that we believe have high enough need and recommendation for the measures to immediately say, yes, we want to do these. We wanted to wait before moving forward with some of the other measures in those buildings until we saw the remaining 4 come through to make sure there was enough budget. Different than last year is that there's not an invoice packet for you. The document for our agreement this year would allow us to move forward with those buildings as they become available and the contractor quotes are coming in.
Okay, and those 6 were prioritized after receiving the assessments from the larger properties?
Nothing changes with those 6. Like the weatherization was clearly going to need to happen, for example, on those 6 as a top measure.
Okay, I guess I'm asking what if the larger property came back and it's by far the most important property? Because I guess I'm asking, have we evaluated all the assessments from all the properties prior to deciding on these 6?
There's enough budget available for the next buildings coming through, yes.
Okay, and just second question, is this all we're doing for these 6 properties, or are we planning to come back for potential heating and cooling upgrades?
There may be some of them that will come back.
Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there that I would like to see, if we do come back for heating and cooling, I will probably ask to see the cost and efficiency difference between heat pumps versus just replacing furnaces. And I would like to see that. I'm going to continue to be annoying about that. So I just want to throw that out there. So thank you.
No, thank you for that reminder. And we are doing that based on our conversations last year. We are looking at some gas-to-gas replacement recommendations this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. Other comments for Claire or Lorene?
I'll just add, in the contract, we'll be also approving that, or it will be up for approval, is the LURA is also referenced in this as well. So none of the implementation will take place until the LURA is in place. So just wanted to add that. That's a part of the contract.
Okay.
Do you want to refresh everyone's memory?
Well, the LURA is the next resolution, correct?
Yeah,
As I look at the
right.
agenda?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So can you wait until then? Yep. Okay. Further discussion on this resolution? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Noted by Ms. Sanders, seconded by Micah. Further discussion on the matter? Yeah. Yes, Dan.
I am all in favor of this program. I think it's wonderful, but to spend $50,000 to save $1,000 a year, it just boggles my mind that nobody in their right mind would make that type of investment. And the savings, if you have 36% savings on the energy, and it only equates to $1,000 a year, something's not meshing in my mind there. And if we're going to do this, and I think we ought to do this as a city, we ought to get behind and help improve the lives of the tenants and make things more affordable. Well, then I think we've got to get more bang for the buck, because this is like owning a boat, just throwing your money into the lake, because it's not getting us anywhere in my mind. But I'm not an expert in that stuff. Okay. But it's just my observation.
My observation, it seems like there's a lot of intangibles versus the hard savings that you're talking about and driving an ROI. Micah, you've got comments here.
Yeah, so me being annoying about furnaces versus heat pumps it's a similar issue. Like, I am very supportive of this program, and I am very supportive of the city's climate goals. And sometimes when you have a program, it can't solve every problem that the city's facing at once. You have to kind of focus, and I think that's kind of what you're saying. Like, we can solve affordability of housing, and if you also want to solve climate goals alongside that, it's going to cost more money to do both of those things. And we can debate whether we want to do one or the other or both of those, but to do both of them is going to cost more money than to do one or the other.
And another thing is the health and safety piece of this, is that we're improving the lives of the residents as well.
Yeah, just a chair observation, I think everybody's in favor of this, but we've just got some questions. The intangibles seem to be a lot more than the actual hard savings.
I think Claire wants to share some feedback
Claire.
as well.
And two other items to consider is in participating, the LURA, which was always listed in our three-party, but now is even more strong, is also keeping the owners committed to their rents being at or below the HUD fair market rate. So it's also helping those owners with their commitment to affordability. And as we look at the increase in our utilities over time, this is going to help these buildings continue to keep their utility costs lower. So there's going to be also, somewhat of, growing and exponential benefits over time as utility costs raise.
Further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. It's already on the table. Is there any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, you have a motion approved. Next goes to the Finance Committee. Lorraine, I assume you're on the next one too, item number C?
Yes.
Okay, you're on.
This is for the approval of the land use agreement, land use restriction agreement for affordable housing, also known as the LURA. So this contract, we decided to put this in place to ensure that the property remains affordable for the 5-year period in case that the participant sells the property. So this will follow the property to ensure that it is affordable, remains in that HUD guidelines of affordable rents for the 5-year period. So once again, the contract would not start until all of the agreements are signed, including the LURA. That would then have to be notarized, and then those forms would come to me. I would then send it to the Recorder of Deeds, and then track those documents for that 5-year period of time. I don't know, Dan, do you have anything to add to this at all? Dan, it was actually, we are grateful that he was able to draft this for us, so.
You stated it correctly.
Well, thank you for your hard work on this one, Lorraine and Dan. We will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, I will second. Andy moved and I seconded. Is there any further discussion on Resolution 12726? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It's passed.
All right, thank you.
Take it forward. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is the hotel room tax report considerations. I assume this is Mike and Joyce? I'll let Joyce take this. All right, Joyce, it's all yours. Would anybody like to give a report?
You have a copy of the ad in. We got a really good deal on putting an ad in the Business Expansion magazine. They're doing a feature for July for Wisconsin. So Catherine worked on this. I think she did an amazing job. That's about it.
What month is it going to appear?
You folks have that the only thing under hotel room tax? Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll move on to item number 7, the Economic Development Director and Committee reports. And I will give one quick piece as we move into this. Congratulations on the YMCA moving to the town. That's I've been seeing that dirt move over there for a while, so I think it's going to be very beneficial to our city in a number of areas. And when I heard the clinic's going to be there as a part of that, that's even better. So. Yeah. So congrats.
Very exciting. We've been working on that for probably 2.5 years, with the land sale to Thermo Fisher, and really nice press conference. And thank you to the lead donors, as far as the Baki Schwartz family, Jerry the Frautzi family, and then the other couple that helped to fund the second pool for it. And that Access Community Health Clinic, they're projecting that they're going to serve 5,000 residents just from that location alone. So really critical health access for our residents. And then there's even going to be childcare for probably 100 and some spots for babies on up to 4 years for it. So a very unique partnership and a great project. They plan to break ground in September, and then they would open Q1 of 28 for it. Then, and for Scott's purposes, I'll start out first off with City in Motion implementation. That's our Forward Fitchburg. We're continuing to work with Vanderwall to update that process, and we held 3 of the roundtables with various themes. The first one was Centers in Identity, that focused on kind of the commercial corridors that we have and addressing the unique aspect of Fitchburg with how do we support those to be thriving and meet the needs of our community, and then also how does that evolve into establishing Fitchburg's identity. So we had a good probably 25, 30 people at that one, and good input and information there. Then we had the innovation and emerging kind of economic areas, and had a good roundtable with emerging industries and experts in those industries. And then the third one was artificial intelligence, AI, in the new economy. really smart people at the various roundtables, and I think Vanderwall got a lot of good information from them. The fourth roundtable that'll be coming up, and we've got a meeting with Vanderwall today at 10 o'clock, is what's titled the Developer Roundtable, and that's to get feedback and input from the development community, their kind of technical teams on experts, engineers, architects, real estate brokers, bankers, and to find out how are things, our processes and procedures working for the development community, and kind of moving them through our pipeline and approval process here. We've made a lot of system and program enhancements and improvements as far as our weekly development team meetings on Tuesday, the E-Plan, which has a turnaround for building permits of 15 days, as well as utilizing OpenGov, so people don't necessarily have to come into City Hall to submit permits. They can submit them 24/7, 365. So we've really streamlined and made our process more efficient for those projects coming forward. But are there other areas where we could still look at system improvements, and we want to hear from them. But then we'd like to have a conversation with that group as we aspire both within our comp plan and also with our zoning code rewrite. And those processes are being launched. The council approved the contract on Tuesday night for our planning colleagues to move forward with those major initiatives. But as we're aspiring to create more kind of mixed-use neighborhoods, mixed-use buildings and things like that, how do we work with our private sector partners to drive that type of product development in neighborhoods in our community? Because sometimes from the development community, they don't necessarily look at Fitchburg that same way as maybe projects that they've done in Madison along some of the corridors, in Middleton, downtown Sun Prairie, downtown Verona. So how do we work with them to bring us more of that type of product to be successful too in our corridors and in our commercial areas? So we're anxious to hear from them on what our best practices and how do we as a city be a collaborative partner to drive that type of development that we're looking to bring to our community. So we're right now projecting possibly on July 16th. We'll kind of know after our meeting with Vanderwall today if that's definitely the date. And collectively with Joyce, Lorene, and I think we have 100 and some people on our list of folks to invite. Not that we'll get everybody, but we're looking to host that one at the Fowler, the new event center there at Blue Plate Catering on Verona Road. So we'll keep you.
July 16th, Mike?
July 16th, yeah, is the tentative date right now, if we can pull it all together for that date. So any questions on that? We want to finish the roundtables first, and then we'll reconvene our strategy team that's guiding the Forward Fitchburg update. And then hopefully we would look to wrap up that kind of Forward Fitchburg initiative, and then that would lead to us moving forward with that marketing piece within business sometime later in the fall and into next year. Any questions on Vanderwall? Will be providing a summary from the roundtable, so when we get those, we can share those with the group here, so you can kind of see the content and information and themes that we were hearing at the various ones. And I know Mark participated in the Innovation in Emerging Economies, and Jenny was at the Centers and Identity one.
Will you bring them back to our July meeting? Bring them to our July meeting then to give an update, or no?
Probably not, because we're going to also send a follow-up to the people. We have several people that were unable to attend, so we're going to send out kind of an overview of the comments that were made and allow them to also submit comments. So if there's any session that you had interest in being part of and were unable to attend, let us know, and we can send that information out to you. Mm-hmm. But I doubt that we'll, have time between now and then to get, things organized for the developer roundtable, and also get the stuff back from, because we have quite a list of people who were unable to attend but really would like to have their input. So
okay, thank you. Anything else, Mike, from your?
No, if you guys have any observations from the roundtables that you participated in, feel free to share.
I thought it was an excellent meeting. I learned a lot that I didn't know, and it was nice to hear some of these business leaders, particularly from Sub-Zero, and the woman from the tech area, offer things about the city and how Fitchburg fits in and doesn't fit in, and more importantly, why Sub-Zero. One of the reasons they stayed here. I mean, and the community was part of what their discussion, and we talked a lot about production and being able to produce and having labor to produce, and looking to you, Lorraine, affordable housing. People able to live out here instead of having to drive. So that was one of the takeaways that I heard from this. It was, thank you for inviting me. It was good. Jen, you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, the identity, clearly people feel very passionately about this. So it was great to just get different perspectives, kind of like you said, of different business leaders and residents and developers. And I think the biggest question was, how do we create a sense of community with a downtown-like atmosphere? And whether we can do that in one place or whether we have districts around the city where this is kind of the entertainment district, this is the restaurant district, this is the activities and recreation district. You know, there was sort of all these different things that we bounced around. It was very interesting.
One more I would add. They talked a lot about having buildings available. In particular, some of the high-tech stuff needs what they call clean rooms, that you can't have X in here at one time and then Y move in later in the day. Buildings and moving quickly on, if somebody wants to come, getting them in here. You folks, I mean, would you guys agree with that one? Mike and Joyce, you were there.
Totally agree. Yeah, the site selection process is accelerated so much and shortened there. And a lot of times when we receive RFPs from both the state and now the Greater Madison Chamber that's Mad Rep is evolved into, it starts with existing buildings. And we're fortunate that we don't have a lot of vacant existing buildings sitting out there. But when a search starts with that, we're eliminated from participating because we don't have existing buildings available. So one thing we talked about was something we had seen online in economic development websites is, would we ever spend some money to do a virtual spec building that kind of optimizes that process. So if we had a prospect, we could move quickly on a new build construction there to kind of shorten the time frame that it would take at a particular site and kind of the entitlement process there. So we'll see what strategies come out of from Vanderwall based on the information that they heard. I think the other thing from our perspective, and this is hopefully something that we see as part of the comp plan, is the need for some significant acreage for a true business and industrial park. We didn't necessarily accomplish that with the two recent neighborhood plan updates with South Stoner Prairie and Greenfield, even though we had offered that input for various reasons, didn't necessarily rise to the top in those neighborhood plans, but that really puts us at a disadvantage, especially when we're working with some of the prospects that are looking for acreage. And we're not looking to be at, some of these prospects are looking for 400 or 500,000 acres and everything. That's not where we're looking to position, but, we want to be at least at, 30, 50, maybe 100, depending on the end user there. Because we're not, even if it's warehouse distribution, we're not going to be the megas, but we might be that last mile kind of facility in some of that space. And right now, we just don't necessarily have that available at the ready. So that's something that hopefully this group can help us through the comp plan process to kind of add input and perspective to help us accomplish that as we do the major comp plan going forward.
Okay,
thank you. I think one other thing that we really learned is our existing businesses. We do not have enough land available for them. One of our major employers has looked to purchase land outside of Fitchburg, which is something that's of concern to both me and Mike. And we want to keep that in mind. So we need to have people listening to what we're saying. We're not just talking to talk. You know, we have a lot of data about projects that have come forth that we couldn't even respond to because we don't have land.
Okay, I think we're all truly aware of that, and as past plans have identified the same thing, which way do we grow and how do we grow? So thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us to those sessions. Like I said, I think it was very worthwhile for me, so. Continue, you folks are still up.
Then moving to just development updates here. We had the JRB meeting yesterday, the Joint Review Board meeting yesterday, and that body approved the TID number 17 amendment, which is over there along the Verona Road corridor, and that will allow the Jamestown Quarry development to continue to move forward with the retail center, 69,500 square foot retail center with a specialty grocer that will be named later after the lease is signed with them. But we've got our work done, and now the private sector will continue with their work, and then hopefully that project will get started in September of this year. But if you've been over there recently, you see a lot of good progress along the front with Chase Bank, Chick-fil-A, and McDonald's. I'm not sure if Crew Car Wash has started yet. I know they've got the banner up there, but I don't know if they've definitely started. Yeah, I think that one's going to come a little later. But I think Chick-fil-A, I think, is anticipating an opening sometime September, October, and everything. So the build-out will go pretty quick, you know, over there for those four across the front. Then the retail center will get started, and then there will be another apartment building that Corey Frank is doing. The leasing activity in that first building is going really, really well for him with the lease up. So definitely a need for more housing in that area. Yeah, so he'll be doing a second building with approximately another 270 units. So we're glad that we've got that approved and moving forward. And the council approved the developer agreement on Tuesday night. They also approved the one for the UPS store. So Sam and Melissa are ready to go, and they will demolish the building at 2917 Fish Hatchery Road starting the week of July 6th. And then once they've got the building demolished, then we will proceed with signing the TIF developer agreement. And on that one, we're participating with selling them that remnant parcel on the south side of Ocala for $1, just because it's a remnant piece that isn't developable, and we're bearing the maintenance costs on that, so it just made sense to sell it to them so they could move the building up to the street to anchor that corner. And then we're participating with the demolition costs of the existing building. But they need to be in that new building in March of 2027, so that one's going to be a fast build-out as well. Bowman Plaza, the TIF agreements are all approved for that one. We saw Ned earlier this week from Ragtag Ventures. They're looking to start demolition in July for that building. That'll be a signature project for Fitchburg. And then Syncopation, the clean fill site between Highway 14 and MM. They're working with the planning department. They'll be bringing forward a preliminary plat to the July Plan Commission meeting to keep that process moving forward. But they're hoping to get started this fall. And it'll probably be a lot of the geotechnical reclamation earthwork, and then there'll be out of the gate one of the multifamily buildings, and then the other one that wants to get started is Trilogy Health Services with the Continuum of Living and Care facility. So a lot of good projects all around the city moving forward. And then if you've been over to the theaters, the parking lot has been resurfaced. So very excited about that, to see a smooth parking lot and everything. We had been getting some inquiries and comments on social media, and Katie, our local manager, she does an awesome job at the theater and worked with corporate to get the necessary resources to finally get that done. So we appreciate her efforts to make that happen. And then we were at Blue Plate Catering on Tuesday, I think that was, for their ribbon cutting. And what a great reuse of that building. And the way they set up the ribbon cutting event where you made your way through the building as far as their processes and where they had the various stations. There was really a neat kind of ribbon cutting, and their staff is so enthusiastic. There's so a great reuse and reinvestment of that existing space. And then they have the Fowler Event Center on the north end, so some really good space for business and social activities and events. And then the other one that'll be coming is the former Dry Bean, most recently Mad Power and Loxley Center there. That one is going to get transformed into a Hispanic grocery store, Los Perez. And it'll have a grocery store with the butcher, and then there will also be a taqueria in there for lunch and food. So another good reuse and investment in that space. They were on the Plant Commission this month, and we'll be moving forward with the renovations that they need to make there for that one. And then this evening is the ribbon cutting for the Spring Hill Suites. That kicks off at 4 o'clock. I think the ribbon cutting is officially at 5:30. So you're welcome to all come over there and join us for that one. That's the second property by the hotel developer, local gentleman, by Raveen Shah. He's got the Staybridge Suites and was able to get access into the Marriott portfolio. And we've already been over there. Really nice property. So if you can join us tonight, you'll have a chance to come over and check it out. And then one other just process update is we're starting our 2027 budget process. So the budget documents and forms have been released by the Finance Department, and our draft budget is due for us to submit by July 21st. So we'll be starting that as well. I think those are all the updates that I have. I'll let Lorene and Joyce, if they've got anything to add.
For housing, working on the initiatives that I shared at our last meeting. So CDBG, we're working on finalizing our contract. So that may be coming forth in the next couple months. And then also for down payment assistance, working with some different vendors, utilizing the feedback that you all provided to kind of finalize that program. So I'll be giving you details at a later date. And then also internally working on the housing dashboard. So we have Miranda that's here for the summer, that is an intern in the planning department. She is really working hard on getting that kind of forthcoming. So I'll keep you posted as soon as that's all ready. And that's pretty much it.
I want to just mention the meeting next week with Dane County, the regional housing strategies, right, is next week?
Yes. So that's on the 30th. And basically, it's a really great annual meeting that they have, kind of just giving you updates about housing and best practices. There'll be a lot of speakers. ADUs is a topic as well there. So, yeah, it should be a great meeting. So hopefully you can attend.
Anything else from staff?
Mike already reported everything I've been doing, so Gigi's Playhouse. There is going to be a ribbon cutting in August. So when I get the final details, I'll let you know. I feel like it's August 26-ish, and we're working with the UPS store to do a groundbreaking, just because that's been a very extremely long process, but it's something they should be very proud, and that might be like July 22nd-ish, either 22nd or 23rd. I think that's all, and I'm starting to work on the business lunch, so we'll keep you posted on that too. I think that's
Thank you,
it
Joyce.
for me.
Mike, anything else?
The only thing I would say is thanks to the collective staff here, finance, legal, administration, as well as the Ellers team with the various TIF proposals that have just been approved recently. When they come forward for formal consideration and see the light of day, it looks pretty seamless. But all the work that goes in, behind the scenes there, and crises of the day that we're responding to hold projects and deals together. It takes a collective effort, and we've got an awesome team, not only internally here, but with Ellers that makes that happen. So kudos to everybody for all their hard work, because it took a collective group effort to get those all done. But they were successful in the end with helping to move projects forward, and then we're anxious to see shovels in the ground to proceed. So
I'm going
thanks
to give a
everybody.
shout out to Mike, because the guy has been working day and night, crisis management, managing chaos, personalities. It's been a rough road for him the last few weeks. So he definitely deserves a big round of applause for his
the
work.
whole group.
Well, I would advocate we need to thank this whole group. Those of us on this committee need to thank the work this group's doing. So
Yeah.
thank you to navigating things through. Anything else from staff? I see Jenny's on the agenda for a housing update.
Yeah, really, not much to report that we don't already know. We met June 8th for the Housing Advisory Committee and had two main presentations. One of them was Lorraine's kind of the ABC questions, which CETA actually had for the last meeting. So I got to sit on that a second time. And then the other presentation was from Claire and John. So we've already seen that today. So that's about all we covered. It was kind of a short meeting. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else from anybody on the committee before we move into announcements? Or as we move into announcements, sorry.
One other thing is Gorman continues to do their due diligence on the housing front there with regards to the Osborne property. So we're just following kind of their pace. I know they're doing a tree survey, wetland delineation, and some of those more technical items that need to be done before they can submit what's entitled Article 3 under Smart Code for that property. But we continue to stay in communication with them, and we'll see where that one goes as they continue to make progress there with that proposal.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from committee members? Okay, hearing none. Our next scheduled meeting is Thursday, July 23rd. And I would also encourage, if you can attend, Joyce sends us info for all these ribbon cuttings and things going on. We're all busy people. If it works into your schedule, let's try and attend and show some support for the things going on in this city, because there's a lot of neat things. We got our challenges, but a lot of neat things going on. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And we are all done. Thank you very much. Also, a big thank you to Scott back there, taking care of us all these times that we're on FACTv. So have a nice day, everybody. It's beautiful outside.